We need all of you in this fight together to protect our communities from the cruelty, the unique cruelty of this regime, of this Trump administration. We have a chance to win here. The people united will never be defeated. This is a time for us to unite in action against the cruelty, unite in action to show our compassion against their cruelty. But we will only win if our elected officials feel the pressure, feel the smoke, feel the collective energy of our righteous anger and love. Let's go, let's get it to victory. Thank you.
Listen, my party leader said we got work to do, but what he also, I don't want you to miss the message. This is a winnable fight. That is like, that is the point. This is not just like performance, y'all. Lives depend on us actually taking these quite simple steps that don't require or ask a lot of us. This minimal intervention that we're asking us to make, three things: post on social media, sign up for a healthcare heist event, call your senators. Those three things are not the heaviest of lifts, beloveds, especially if it means millions of people get health care, millions of people can eat. And let's not go for the okey doke. The Republicans are going to try to tell us that they're coming to save our folks. But meanwhile, our folks are going to be out here struggling while billionaires throw parties in a new ballroom in the East Wing. Mo just told us what it is. And I trust that the people of goodwill, the thousands of you that are watching all across YouTube, all across social media, I trust that you will take a faithful next step of calling your senator, of telling your story online, inviting others to do the same, and actually taking it to the streets. Let's go to those senators' offices. They home anyway. They ain't in DC working. They home anyway. So I trust that we will show up and show out in defense of our people so that we can live in safe, healthy, and equitable communities, y'all. That's the work tonight. So for folks that want the calls to action up front, you've got them. We've recorded them. You've seen them on the screen. You will be getting these links afterward. This call is being recorded. You'll also be able to see it on YouTube after anyway. But we need you to take these calls to action seriously. So if you've already signed up for one of those three, or all of those three, or a couple of those three, I want you to tell me in the comments right now, like, I'm down, Ash. Tell me I'm down. I want to see you in the chat. I want to see that you've made a commitment to our people, to yourselves, to our neighbors. I want to know how many people after this call ends have actually said yes. That because the work isn't just coming to the call tonight, y'all. Sometimes we do that. The choir needs preaching too sometimes, right? Sometimes we need a pep rally. Tonight is about the serious business of ratcheting up the pressure on these Republicans who are throwing our people under the bus for their own profit. Tonight, I need us to work. And in that spirit, we're going to go to our next incredible speaker. I would like to welcome Anna Duncan, an incredible leader at Vocal Texas. We're asking you all to share your own stories of how the healthcare cuts are impacting you. And Anna is going to tell us more about her own experiences in this moment. Anna, I'll toss it to you next.
Well, thank you, Ashley. I really do appreciate it. Hi, everyone. My name is Anna Duncan, and I am a leader with Vocal Texas, a proud leader with Vocal Texas. Um, we're organizing to end homelessness and so many more. Vocal Texas is affiliated with People's Action and Popular Democracy. Um, I'm speaking from experience on how I got cut from food stamps prior to now. Okay. Um, I know what it's like to be hungry. I know what it's like to stand in line for food pantries and waiting in line for hours um, for food pantries to open. Um, it doesn't make any sense to have to wait so long. Also, I know what it's like to go into like convenience stores and grocery stores, um, stealing food out of there when I don't have enough to make ends meet. Um, and Donald Trump in his administration wants more people to wants people to know what it's like to be hungry and to not to stand in line for food pantries. Okay, um, it's just like his signature big ugly budget cuts and tax cuts bill is it's ridiculous. Okay, um, oof, Jesus, I'm sorry if I get emotional. I do apologize because it hurts so much. Because I'm thinking about my cousin who also got cut from her SNAP, her Medicaid, and she got 4 kids, and one of her kids is on a feeding tube, and she has to come out of pocket paying thousands and thousands of dollars for that, and it like I don't even know why he's in office in the first place for the second time. Okay, um, me personally, I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio. I moved to Texas back in 2023. I've been on the streets. I slept on the streets for a year and a half. I moved into a shelter um, for another year and a half, and once I finally got my apartment, that's when I noticed my food stamps got cut off, and it really hurted me to have to call my food place, my food stamp place, to see what was going on, and they telling me that they consider it fraud. I call BS on that because I turned in the proper documentations after I moved into my apartment because I was going to use my May snaps benefits and my June snaps benefits um to put food in my house. I'm not gonna lie. I thought they changed my date of when my stamps or my snap will be on another day. Will reload. No. So when I finally did call and ask, hey, I noticed I didn't get my June stamps. What's going on? I turned it on my proper documentations. I did update y'all that I did move from the shelter into my own apartment. So what's going on? And they told me it was fraud. So they not giving me any more stamps. So I did ask them. So basically, I'm going to come out of my pockets after I landed a job as a security officer. So I basically asked him, so you basically want me to come out of my pocket for food? I don't even make that much working. And it's just like, come on, y'all. Now my phone is off. Now I'm at risk of losing my apartment because I am on a housing voucher. And Trump is talking about cutting out housing programs. I'm scared to go back into the streets. And I moved into my apartment June 2nd, 2025. I'm scared that I'm going to be raped. I'm scared I'm going to be killed or somewhere in the river. And it doesn't, like, honestly, my life is starting over from the get go. Like, what's the point of even trying, of doing what I was supposed to do? And it doesn't make any sense. I'm scared to go back on drugs because I've been 12 years clean from drugs. I'm scared of dying, overdosing and dying. And it breaks my heart. It really does break my heart to see that these cuts are impacting us. Not only me, but for my other fellows, my other neighbors, whether it's here in Texas or whether it's in DC or New York or anywhere that you guys are watching from. We are we as a working woman, I know what it's like, and I just felt I I I stand in solidarity, I stand strong with people's actions, Popular Democracy in Focal, Texas, with our sister chapter, Focal New York and Focal, Texas, and Focal US. Thank you.
Anna, we love you. We receive your testimony, and you got like almost 2,000 people in the comments on one of the YouTube channels sending you so much love, so much solidarity, cheering you on and reminding you of the incredible power that you have and the gift that you just gave us. And colleagues that are watching, if you are not pissed enough to take a couple of seconds out of your day to make these calls to these senators after hearing this sister's testimony, there is nothing we can do to convince you to be on the right side of the history, pushing the moral arc of the universe towards justice. Anna, I want to thank you for being here with us tonight, for being brave, and for loving us enough to share your story with us, to push us to be active. And we just thank you. Thank you for being here. We love you. Y'all,
Thank you.
I'm going to keep it pushing. Anna, stay with us. We love you. I have the honor of inviting up next Senator Christopher Van Hollen from the great state of Maryland. Senator, I'll pass it to you.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Ash. And I want to join you in really thanking Anna for that powerful testimony, speaking the truth. And we need everybody in the country to hear that testimony. So thank you and everybody on this call for getting the word out. Because what's happening in our country is inexcusable. I don't think any of us ever thought we'd be living through this moment, but it is our job now to stand up and speak out and fight back against this lawless administration that we're facing. And I do want to start with what they're doing on the food assistance program, SNAP, and then talk a bit about the healthcare crisis we're in. Because what's happened is Donald Trump and Russ Vought are now threatening to end the food and nutrition benefits. This is the SNAP benefits in just a few days, which will make 42 million Americans, including 16 million kids, more hungry. It'll make them hungry. And the thing that every American needs to understand is they're doing this deliberately. They're doing it by choice. There's nothing about being in the shutdown that requires them to do it. Don't believe it for a second. In fact, we know that they know that that's untrue, what they're saying, because they had up on their website just a few weeks ago that Congress intended that in this moment, emergency funds, these reserve funds as part of the food assistance program would be spent. And just today, a district court judge in the state of Massachusetts indicated that the judge may likely order the administration to continue to provide that food assistance. But one thing is crystal clear. There's nothing that requires them to do it. And I think we all remember that when they did their so-called Big Beautiful Bill, which is beautiful for billionaires, but really sucked for the rest of the country, they cut almost $200 billion out of the food and a food assistance program, SNAP. So don't believe them when they say, oh, they really don't want to do this. They're being made to do it by the shutdown. That is a lie, a flat out lie. And so we're going to call them out on it, and hopefully a judge will make them provide these benefits as the Congress intended. But don't believe in it for a second that they were required to do it. They're intentionally trying to impose pain so that we won't keep up the fight for healthcare. And I want to talk about healthcare because what we've said, and my colleagues and I have voted 7 times now to reopen the government without giving Donald Trump a blank check, and by preventing this healthcare crisis that's upon us. I think we all know we already have a broken healthcare system. What we're going to do won't fix the system, but it will at least stop it from getting worse for tens of millions of people. Because when they passed that big, beautiful bill, as they call it, although they're trying to call it something else now, they gave those tax cuts for billionaires. They cut the food nutrition programs. They also cut Medicaid. And very cynically, and it's important that everybody understand, they timed the Medicaid cuts to go off after the 2026 election. All right. They didn't want people to really know in this moment what they'd done. So those big Medicaid cuts won't fully take place until then. But they did leave a ticking time bomb in place. And that's what we're talking about as part of this current moment, because they extended tax cuts for billionaires permanently, forever, tax cuts for billionaires. The one tax benefit that they decide to let lapse, to go away at the end of the year, was the tax benefit that helps middle class and working families better afford health care under the Affordable Care Act. That's the one they didn't extend. Permanent tax cuts for billionaires, termination of that one. And that will mean that 20 million Americans will see their health care costs skyrocket. And in some cases, it will double or triple. And the estimate is that 4 million Americans, of our fellow Americans, will not be able to pay those costs and will drop out entirely. They'll be uninsured. When they're uninsured, we know what happens. They don't get preventative health care, right? They don't have a chance to get the coverage to prevent them from getting worse if they have something, a sickness, or they get sick. They go to the emergency room, and the good news is in our country, the emergency room will treat them. But since they're uninsured, who pays for it? All the rest of us. So the point I think we all need to make is that even if you're not getting your health insurance in the Affordable Care Act exchanges, you will pay more, because when you make it unaffordable for millions and millions of Americans, we will ultimately help them, but all the rest of us will see our health insurance rates and costs go up. So what we've said is yes to reopening the government, no to giving Donald Trump a blank check, but yes to making sure we turn off the ticking time bomb that they've left in place. And so I want to thank you, Ash, and everybody on this call. I want to thank you for sticking with this battle, because we need to express solidarity and stick together to make sure that we do right by the American people. And that's what this is all about. We are fighting an administration who, as I said at the beginning, is intentionally terminating food assistance benefits for 42 million Americans, 16 million kids, in order to weaponize the shutdown, make people go hungry, so that they can have their way, and their way is avoiding dealing with the other big crisis, which is the healthcare crisis. So this is the president who said he was going to come down and bring down the price of groceries day one, and all he's done is drive them through the roof. And now he's running around the world. He should be here in Washington. He should be in Washington working to reopen our own government. He just got home, but he's been traipsing all over the world. And, I'll end with this. He put in place these tariffs, across the board tariffs, that are nothing more than a sales tax on all of us. They make groceries more expensive. They make everything more expensive. And now he runs around. So he lit the fire, and now he's running around to China saying, oh, you retaliated against me, but please don't do that anymore. And he wants credit for a deal that was only required because he started the fire. So he's an arsonist. He lights the fire, and he runs over to the meeting and puts out a little bit of the fire and wants to claim credit for putting out the fire he started. this is nuts. And so we all got to call them out on it. And thank you for being part of that. And at the end of the day, fighting for a healthcare system that really works. As I said, what we're doing here now is just trying to make things, prevent it from getting a lot worse. I think we all want to make it better in terms of universal healthcare and Medicare for all. But for now, let's just, try to put out all the fires that Donald Trump has started.
Absolutely. Senator Van Hollen, thank you for being here. Thank you for reminding us to not get confused by the lies that they're telling about saving us from the problems that they've created in the first place.
Yeah.
Thank you for being with us tonight, making it clear. And I can see the folks in the chat sending you a lot of love. You hit the nail on the head. People were like, why are we not fighting for universal health care? We got to stop the hemorrhage first.
Yes, that's true.
It seems like
all right. Well, thank you all. Well, we have a lot of fights ahead of us. Let's just, as doctors say, first do no harm. So let's not make it worse.
That's right. Thank you,
Senator. Then we'll make it better. Thank you.
We appreciate you. Y'all,
okay.
The next speaker, it feels silly to introduce because she's been a people's champion for as long as I can remember. Y'all already know her. So I'm just going to, and y'all don't even understand the hurdles she's jumped to be on this call tonight. She's going to be on in a moving car. Senator Warren from the great state of Massachusetts. I will toss it to you next.
All right. Thank you, Ash. And I just want to say how much I wanted to be on this call with the fighters, the people who are willing to wade in the fight and stand up for their principles. And yeah, I thought I was going to be in a nice room with nice lighting and good sound. But I've been on a flight that should have taken an hour and 10 minutes, and I've been there for the last 6 hours. So anyway, but nothing's going to slow me down from being with you all. Look, we are in a fight, and we are now barreling toward week 6 of this government shutdown. And this is a shutdown that Donald Trump and the Republicans made all by themselves. So why did they do this? They decided they would rather shut down the entire government than lower costs and save healthcare for millions of Americans. You've heard the story already, but I just want you to think about that. These are people who would rather just shut the whole damn thing down than say, yeah, we're just going to continue help for people. And what this is going to mean for folks, it's going to mean closing down rural hospitals. It's going to mean closing down community health centers. This is going to mean lots of hospitals that try to figure out how to cut more costs. And that means getting rid of the labor and delivery rooms because those are the most expensive in the hospital. So you got it. What's going to happen here? Right now, as we are talking, and tomorrow and on Saturday, people everywhere in America are getting their letters, getting their email notices that say, here's what your healthcare premiums are going to be like for next year. And they're looking at numbers that are not just up, are up, up, up. And that means a lot of people are going to be put in a position that they have to choose between keeping healthcare coverage and rent. And that's not something that should happen in America. Now, I want to start with the fact our healthcare system is already broken. This is not like, we are saving the principled, fabulous, works great system. It is broken. But now Donald Trump and the Republicans in Congress have decided they are going to make it a whole lot worse. And who are they going to make it worse for? The billionaires? Nope. Those people can buy their own hospitals. They're going to do just fine. They're just going to make it worse for everybody else in the system. And I thought that was a bad enough fight. I genuinely did. I thought, geez, what kind of people do this? But now what Trump and the Republicans have decided to do is to up the ante by cutting off SNAP benefits for 42 million Americans. And children, that's veterans, that's seniors, that's people who are struggling. And when they go to the refrigerator this weekend, the plan for the Republicans is to say, nothing there. Too bad for you. I just want you to think about this. Donald Trump, $40 billion to bail out Argentina and a bunch of hedge fund investors just this week, $40 billion. but he's going to make it harder for 40 million Americans to afford their groceries. He can't round up a nickel for those folks. So I think of it this way. Donald Trump is sitting around dreaming about eating his well-done steaks with ketchup in a fancy new ballroom that he has had encrusted with gold, while billionaire donors sit around and flatter him. And meanwhile, families, seniors, veterans, people with disabilities lose their health care, ration their insulin, pay more at the grocery store, rack up debt, and go without groceries, all to try to pay for Donald Trump's awful policies. Well, all I got to say is not on our watch. That is why we are in this fight. We are in this fight to fight back. We are in this fight to fight back for the other people in this country. We are fighting to reverse the Republican giant health care cuts and to lower costs for families. This is a righteous fight, and there's no place else I'd rather be than to be in this fight with you all. And I particularly wanted to be here right now ahead of a very somber anniversary. And I just want to take a minute to say a word about Audie. Over the last couple of years, but particularly the last few months and the last few days, as we've gotten into this fight, I've thought a lot of times about what would Audie be doing in fights like this. He would be in the fight to save healthcare. He would be in the fight to save access to food. He would be in the fight for families hanging on by their fingernails. And this is the spirit that we have to bring to this fight. This is the spirit right now that Senate Democrats are bringing in. We're fighting to prevent insurance premiums from going up by thousands and thousands of dollars. We're fighting to help families keep their health care. We're fighting because we don't think anybody ought to go bankrupt because they get sick and need to see a doctor. We're fighting because we believe in an America where everybody has access to health care, everybody has a chance to get fed. We think that's where you ought to be starting if you're the richest nation in the world. We know that the Republicans believe in a government that works. Man, they totally do. Works for the billionaires. They prove that over and over and over. And if you don't believe it, just look at the pictures of knocking down the East Wing so that they can build a golden-crusted ballroom that you and I are not going to get invited to. And they can't round up a nickel for hungry kids, and they can't offer a helping hand for people who are trying to pay for their child care, for their health care. So I'm just telling you, we know what this fight is about, and it is an honor for me to be on this call with you, an honor to be with the fighters who are going to make the difference. So this is it. This weekend, get on the phone. I know you're going to get all your instructions from Ash here, but I just want to say it. Now is the moment. You're in this fight. Don't look back a month from now and say, gee, I wonder if I could have done more. Now is the time to be in this fight, and make sure that your senators in particular, red or blue, I don't care, that they hear from you about how important it is that Democrats stand up and fight for our values. So Ash, thanks for having me. All of you, thanks for having me. And it's just an honor to be here with you.
It's our honor. And we have gotten our marching orders from a people's champion who's got receipts for fighting for us. Got receipts, even fighting to be on this call with us tonight. So y'all got your marching orders from Senator Warren. Make sure you're making those calls. You can text. You got the calls to action. You can text Shutdown to 30403 right now and respond to that text, and it will get you in the queue to talk to your senator. So please do not think it too simple. I know I've seen you in the chat. I know you've made calls, beloveds. I know you have. It's probably what's kept the government from reopening without a concession on healthcare in the first place. But I promise you it will not continue to stay closed until we get what we've demanded if you do not keep the pressure up and increasing. Now is the time to fight. Senator Warren told us to fight. Let's be about that business. Y'all, I am so honored to bring our next speaker up, Julia Tilley, who is an incredible home care worker, a member of United Home Care Workers of Pennsylvania, and from the mighty House of Labor, SEIU Healthcare PA. Welcome, Julia.
Thank you so much, Ashley. Thanks for having me here. I know we have a lot of people on the live feed, and my big only question is, are you all ready? Are you ready to fight for our health care over billionaires? We already do have our plan for action. We have our 3 things that we've been tasked to do, and I know most of you on this call have been doing lots and lots of other things, and I just encourage you to keep doing it. Don't get discouraged. Keep fighting. Do whatever you can to bring this travesty to the attention of your friends and family and all your legislators. So, like Ashley said, I'm Julia Tilley. I am a home care worker here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, a proud SEIU member, of course. I take care of my daughter who has physical disabilities as well as autism. Basically, as a home care worker, I have the job of empowering my daughter to be able to live in her own home, in her own community, and not in an institution. But like many home care workers, I had to quit my full-time career, my full-time job to take care of my daughter. I'm very, very proud that I was able to do that, but it has been very financially difficult for our family. For my home care work, I only make $14 an hour. I have no medical insurance through my employer. I have no paid time off or any other benefits. And of course, my daughter's home care and all of her health care are funded through Medicaid. For a long time, my husband and I both were on Medicaid, off and on throughout the years. We've also been on and off SNAP as well, and it has been a wonderful blessing for myself and for everybody else that has been able to have that. Just this last year, we were able to qualify for our state's private insurance program through the Affordable Care Act, which was really, really, really nice. It's been wonderful. It's been a blessing. We've had great health care, great affordable quality health care. But now our family is being faced with the twin threats of the cuts to Medicaid coming in 2027 and the cuts to the tax credit premiums now for the Affordable Care Act. The cuts are going to be very devastating for our family, but not just for us, but for other families all across the country. And it's going to really, really rock the economic security of working people in our state and all across the country. If the Affordable Care Credit tax, if the ACA tax credits expire, the premium costs in our states for our health insurance in the marketplace are going to skyrocket about 82%. We never got a letter, but when we checked our penny account on Sunday, like they're not even putting numbers in there anymore. It doesn't say, it just says it's going to go up and that's it. So I don't know. I mean, according to the Kaiser Foundation, our projected yearly payment for healthcare for the 2 of us is $24,000. I'm 60 years old. I can't afford not to have insurance. I have pre-existing conditions. I take care of our daughter. My husband has a traumatic brain injury and can only work part-time. So we are just like a lot of other Americans. We are just stuck. And this is nothing that anybody could prepare for. This isn't a fault of budgeting. And I get so tired. I get so tired of the rhetoric that's been spun by the Republican administration that poor people are lazy. They are not lazy. The billionaires are who are lazy. It is hard work to be poor. I work full time. I work full time in a country, the richest country in the world, and I can't afford health insurance. So again, you know, the Republicans keep saying one of their little themes is make America healthy again. How on earth are we going to make America healthy again if we can't feed ourselves? If we can't go to the doctor and take care of ourselves? We know that it's cheaper to do preventative care than it is to try to fix stuff on the back end when you have stage 4 cancer. So this is just absolutely ridiculous. I can't believe that anybody's believing their lies. This is going to be catastrophic for so many people. And if we put together these eventual cuts to Medicaid and the ACA cuts, it's going to put about 900,000 Pennsylvanians in danger of losing their health care by the end of 2027. I don't even know what that's going to look like. And they're going to impact everybody because clinics are going to close, hospitals are going to close, there's going to be loss of jobs in those sectors. So it's going to touch everybody. And this crisis is also coming at probably one of the worst times when America's population is aging. We're struggling with chronic diseases. We're living longer and we're not as healthy. And we need more care, not less, more care than ever before. So this is not coming at a good time at all. And my congressman, Scott Perry, and 8 other Republican congressmen in my state, they've been enthusiastically supporting these cuts. So I will be calling my senators and my representatives to express my outrage as I have all along, but we'll continue to call. But they say that they're doing these cuts because we can't afford it. And that's a bunch of BS as well. Again, we're the wealthiest country in the world. And the reason that they're doing these cuts is to give lifetime tax credits to billionaires. They're going to cut the tax credits for the working in the middle class, but they're going to give more money to the billionaires, lifetime tax credits, which makes no sense at all. It makes me really, really angry. It is totally unacceptable. It is totally un-American. And it doesn't matter. You know, I'm here talking about me. It doesn't matter to me if somebody is a Democrat, a Republican, an independent. They've never voted in their life. They never want to vote. Everybody deserves to eat. Everybody deserves health care. I also coach Special Olympics softball. I'm getting communication from some of my athletes who are losing their snap and they don't know what to do. They don't all have family that can help them. So it's just, the need is there. The need is huge and it's going to get really, really, really bad. I was in DC in September on the 30th, which was the day before the shutdown. And I shared my story there. And now almost a month later, I'm still sharing my story and I am determined to keep sharing it and to keep gathering other people's stories to share and to tell, because we want our elected officials not to bow down to the billionaires. We want them to choose people over profit and not to sell us out. We want our Democratic legislators to stand strong, and we'd love to see some Republican legislators join in. Because this is not about party. This is about humanity. This is about being human and caring for each other. So we have our marching orders. You have your marching orders. I have my marching orders. And we are not going to stop talking, and we are not going to stop standing up and protecting people. Thank you for having me.
Julia, how blessed we are to be able to follow your leadership in a time like this. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for leading us. Thank you for sharing your story. We're sending you and your family so much love, and we're going to fight. We're going to fight.
Thank you. And right back at all of you too.
Absolutely. Next, I'd like to introduce Matthew Joseph, the incredible founder of 5051. I know we got 5051 folks in the chat. Y'all better represent. Matthew Joseph is with 5051 Long Island, an organizer and an ACA recipient. Matt, I'll toss it to you next.
Thank you. Really appreciate everyone being on the call with us tonight. Yeah, so my name is Matt. A lot of people call me Slim. I'm a co-founder and organizer with the Long Island chapter of 5051, which is we're like a local chapter of the much larger 5051 movement. And we specifically focus on issues like wealth inequality, universal health care, LGBTQIA rights, immigration rights, worker solidarity, protecting communities of color, and increasing awareness on how imperialism affects the rest of the world, like while our tax dollars are subsidizing it. Um, but I'm also a SNAP and ACA recipient. And the government shutdown at this point is absolutely terrifying me. Not only am I not going to have food stamps on Saturday, but my insurance renewal is actually in 2 weeks, and I have zero clue what that's gonna like. What is that gonna look like for me now? I'm actually specifically covered under the New York State medical Medicaid expansion that was enabled by the ACA. So with the ACA tax credits expiring, I have absolute fears that now, at minimum, my premiums are going to skyrocket, but I may end up not being covered anymore because I was specifically allowed to get the coverage I have because of the ACA expansions. So with that being affected now and those tax credits running out, I may not even be able to get the same type of insurance moving forward. Um, and it's not just me that's affected. There's almost 250,000 New Yorkers that are in a similar boat to me. Some people and families premiums are going to double when the ACA tax credits expire. We're looking at nearly $3,000 increase across the board average. That's just not doable for many people in this country when it literally every month lately, the cost of living has just gone up and up. um, the American healthcare system already fails so many of us, and the ACA granted millions of Americans a lifeline. And that was so important for so many people to be able to get health insurance. I remember when I actually found out that I was covered under that, I was like, oh my God, because I turned 26, my parent, which already was a miracle for so many people to be able to stay on their parents' insurance till they were 26 was a beauty in and of itself. But then to have the ACA create a situation in so many states where it covered people was it was a genuine lifeline. A big thing that a lot of people don't talk about, even with the 26-year-old cutoff, is sometimes not everyone has that ability to get insurance after they're off of their parents' insurance. So the way that the ACA has worked as it's expanded has been absolutely critical. Um, Now we're looking at Trump and his GOP cronies. They're holding millions of Americans hostage, not just with our health care, but the brutal food stamps cut off. These cuts to these programs earlier in the year funded tax breaks for the oligarchs. So it's simple math. You starve people and make it so that they can't get health care or food, and they're likely to bow down to your tyrannical whims and not question when you screw them over. You're too busy working 2, 3 jobs trying to pay for health insurance and feed themselves. I know I'm personally scared and stressed about how I'm going to make up 250 bucks a month for food because I also receive food stamps. And that's not even factoring the fact that I'm at minimum going to have to pay more for my insurance now. I know I'm not going to back down to Trump, his fascist cronies, or any of these oligarchs trying to steal from us. I'm going to keep fighting. I'm going to keep organizing because I know there are people out there who are way worse off than me and depend on food stamps and the ACA to survive even more than I do. I will keep helping mutual aid efforts in my local community. I will keep showing up for my neighbors, and I hope that you all do the same. Thank you so much for hearing me tonight. It means so much.
Nah, Matt, thank you so much for being the badass, courageous brother that you are, sharing your story with thousands of people and calling us into action. Like, one of the pieces that I really appreciate is that it's actually going to take all of those tactics. It's going to take fighting. It's going to take mutual aid. Any one of them is necessary but insufficient. It's going to take us doing all of those things. every single one of them, to the best of our ability to make sure that we're meeting community needs while we're blocking and we're building our power, we're blocking their fascist intent. That's the work. And Matt, you just gave us our call to action. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here, and shout out to the 5051 fam. All right, y'all. I know we're over the hour, and yet there's still more work to do. So I'm going to encourage you to stay with us. And for folks that didn't join yet, you can tell them to come on and join, because the next couple of speakers are really fire, and I want you to hear them before we close out our call tonight. Y'all, this next piece makes me a little emotional, because we wanted to take a moment on this call to honor a beloved, like my movement brother, a comrade, a movement leader who we lost almost 2 years ago. As you've already heard today, on November 1st, ACA open enrollment begins in this country. And because of the Trump administration, millions of people will not be able to afford the cost of their premiums. You've heard that over and over and over again on this call. And as a result, we will not be able to afford the health care that we need. On November 1st, it's also the second anniversary of the passing of Adi Barkan, who spent the last years of his life after being diagnosed with ALS fighting for health care for all of us. When Donald Trump and Republicans tried to repeal the ACA back in 2017, Adi had just been recently diagnosed with ALS, and he led the fight to stop that repeal. And together, with his leadership, we won that fight. He became a leader in the fight for Medicare for all. And what he knew, like we all know, is that healthcare is a human right. It is a human right, and it should be guaranteed to every single one of us. And so, even though he was dying, even when he had physically lost the ability to use his voice, our brother spent his last days fighting for all of us. And I know, like you know, that if he were with us today, he would have been on this call. He would have been leading us in this fight. And so today, the week of the anniversary of his passing, we just want to take a moment to honor his fight.
For 20 years, since I was a freshman on my high school debate team, I have been giving speeches.
We can sit quietly as life passes us by, or we can stand up and yell. Yell against injustices, yell against inequality, and yell against complacency.
This is the fight for the soul of our country. It's the fight for our families and our communities.
It's about our identity as a people and our ability to build a community of respect. We have the power of solidarity. When I speak alone, my voice is weak. But when I come together with you, we can be heard loud and clear. Can I get a mic check? Mic check! Mic check! Can you hear us, America? Can you hear us, America? We are here to fight. We are here to fight for this country that we love. Because we are stronger together. We are braver together. We are louder together. I believe that we will win.
My comrade, would have wanted all of us to be in this fight together. Let's not let him down. Now, to close us out, I'd like to introduce my brother, the co-executive director of one of the organizations that Audie worked for, Demario Cooper, the co-executive director of Popular Democracy, my homie and a longtime grassroots organizer on the front lines of fights for housing, for healthcare, for criminal justice reform, for economic opportunity, and so much more. Y'all show some love to my brother, your brother, our beloved, a people's champion, Demario Cooper. Demario, I'll toss it to you.
Thank you, Ashley. I appreciate you and love you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is appropriate that I mean, that video about Andy is it is touching. It is, you know, someone who chose to fight into the end, like for real, for us and the people on this call. I want to thank everybody who stayed longer to be on this call. Like Ashley said, I am a co-executive director at the Center for Popular Democracy, which means that, you know, I'm a part of almost 50 grassroots organizations that are building like community and regular people power. I help do that. I help, you know, folks who are working folks find a voice and understand that we have more power when we speak together and actually strategize on how we use nonviolent action to win protections for our families and our communities. I do that, you know, which has an impact, you know, the number of registrations, voter registrations, the number of community conversations, the number of campaigns that we win, that I've been a part of, that I've helped, lives that we've helped. But I want to say, you know, I grew up on food stamps. You know, I'm from Akron, Ohio, and my mother, Patricia Coker, God rest her soul, you know, she literally worked herself to death so that my sister and I could have opportunities. And there was times, you know, we were in the projects and we were on welfare and social safety nets helped my mom take care of us. She eventually worked her way up and we got on Habitat and we got a house on Habitat. And my mom was able to actually purchase and buy that house. And, you know, and then I went to the Marine Corps. I'm a veteran. And every night in boot camp, we used to say, honor country and Corps. Honor country, Corps. Everybody who's a Marine on this call or know a Marine, they know that at the end of every night in boot camp, you say honor country, Corps. And the problem with right now is that I don't see no honor. Ain't nobody working for our country. And even the veterans who lost their lives and fought for this country and died fighting for this country did not die for this. Right now, we got 22 million people whose healthcare costs are going to go up. It's going to throw families into a crisis. And at the same time, we're going to cut SNAP benefits when we got $6 billion to supply emergency aid. This does not make sense. On Saturday, a bunch of people are going to go to use those cards and they're going to come out and it's not going to, the card not going to work. We've been asked to choose between food and no health care, and no health care and maybe food. This is the choice. 42 million people, 16 million kids during the month of Thanksgiving. How does this make sense anywhere? How does this make sense anywhere? This is a moment, and we all knew it. The folks who've been paying attention, you knew that this administration at some point was going to overreach. They were going to do too much. This is that moment. This is that time. This is that time. And when we think about what we must do today and tomorrow, and these coming days and weeks and months and years, the work that you do every day is going to be for 7 generations from now. It's going to be your great, great, great grandkids who either going to look at this time and say that we missed, or they're going to look at this time and say that the people on this call and the people in this country decided that they were going to have a future. They were going to have a future. That's the question in front of us. When we think about, and I think Miss Julia said it earlier, she said, we're not the lazy ones. The billionaires are the lazy ones. What does she mean by that? She meant that we the ones who do the work. We the ones that make the money. It is our labor that allows them to be billionaires. It is our labor. We are the stockers. We're the factory workers. We're the truck drivers. We're the teachers. We're the servers. We're the cooks. We the ones who do it. We either give our consent to this or we don't. And what's going to happen this week is people are going to find out that they don't have food for their families. That people like my mother, who actually needed it's not that she didn't have a whole lifetime on welfare. It was a moment when she needed a safety net to help her get on her feet, feed her kids, so that she could build something for them at that time. But in her honor and in Adi's honor, we gonna fight, y'all. We gotta fight like right now. Right now. If you are someone who could do something, which you can, you are on this call, you are somebody who could do something. What I need you to do real quick for me is go to a computer or a phone and type in ifwedon'teat.com. Ifwedon'teat.com is a website that will give you a bunch of other information, both on how you can help and places where you could go to get help. Ifwedon'teat.com. Just sign up for that. Go to that website. And on that website, what you're going to find is a bunch of resources. And you're going to find places that you potentially could take food. There are a couple asks that I have. There's some asks around the healthcare stuff, but there's some asks that we need right now. We need to go there, download the information, and share it. Because what's going to happen is people are going to go on Saturday and they're going to swipe that card and it's not going to work. And they're going to be walking out of grocery stores trying to figure out what is going on. Like Matthew said, people working 3 jobs. They're working jobs. They're not paying it. They don't have the time to pay attention to this the same way we do. So if you're willing, and if you are willing, not only go to ifwedon'teat.com, but then on Saturday, why don't go to a grocery store, get your friends, go to the grocery store, stand outside the grocery store so when people come outside and they're like, what happened? Share this information with them. Share these things so that they can understand who's really doing this. This is not about this is not about someone trying to tell us that they need to do this in order to try to save the country. This is a political move. This is a political move and a punishment move for working people and poor people. So we have to make sure that people understand what's going on right now and why this is happening right now. Why is this happening to their families? So first, go to ifwedon'teat.com first, get that information. And second, go to a grocery store on Saturday when someone's going to come out trying to figure out what's going on and you help them figure out what's going on. You could do that. That's easy. Just help them figure out what's going on. Say, hey, babe, look, what's happening right now is they're having a fight, and the fight is about your life. And if you want to do something, we got to change it. It's not going to be someone else that comes to help us. It's going to be us. And we actually have the power if we use our voice together. We have the power if we use our voice together. So make sure you go to this website, download these things. And then the other thing I just want to say before is that we're going to have to feed our people, y'all. We're going to have to do it. We're going to have to do it because clearly these billionaires do not care about us. They trying to build a dance hall or something at the White House and trying to starve your kids to do it. At the same time, they're militarizing our communities and snatching people out of our communities. This is a siege, people. But in the middle of that kind of chaos, we got to feed each other. We got to take care of each other. We got to take care of each other. So even if you can't go to the grocery store and pass out the information, go to the grocery store and buy some food and take it to a church or a community center. We're gonna have to step in and fill the gap for a minute. We're gonna have to do that. That's us. That's me and you. If you can buy food, buy food. Give it to someone. Thanksgiving is coming. If they're not going to take care of us, we going to take care of us. And if we don't eat, they don't eat. If we don't eat, they don't eat. If we don't have health care, they don't get to walk around comfortable. Period. So join us. Join us. Go to ifwedon'teat.com. Go to a grocery store. Make sure your family and friends and cousins and aunties and uncles know what's going on, why this is happening. Make sure your nieces and nephews know why this is going on and why this is happening. Make sure everyone in communities that you're in, they need to know. We need to know. Our people need to know. Do that. And then if you can't do that, and if you can do that, go buy some food and feed some folks. Because honestly, this is a moment where we could be Americans for each other. This is a moment when honor, courage, and commitment can mean something for all of us. When they're not being honorable, they're not showing no commitment to our communities and our families. Honor, courage, and commitment. We got to have courage right now. We got to have courage to stand up against this thing. This is our moment. And I just want to leave with saying that it will be us that create a future for 7 generations from now. And we will win. We will win. Love will have the final say. And that's us. A friend of mine says that. Love will have the final say. We got to love each other. We have to feed each other. And we have to take care of each other. Thank you, Ash. Appreciate you.
I was just with DeMario Cooper singing with 250 other Black people. Victory is mine.
Yes, indeed.
Victory is mine. Yes, victory is mine. It is mine, y'all.
Yes,
Grayson Martinez Rosas on one of these other mass calls told us that if it still feels bad, then the story's not over yet. Because victory is our destiny, beloveds. We get to define what this new America is going to look like. Trump and the GOP and other folks that didn't have courage destroyed what was. We can't go back to anything it's gone. If we're at the point where we're debating about whether or not people are going to get to eat, the country that we thought we had, some of us knew we didn't have that. Right? But for those of us that thought we had that, it is a wrap. And now is the time for us to be driving the destiny of what is next. We're the people that don't just see this mess as it is. We see what the future holds, which is healthy, sustainable, equitable communities for all of our people. You know, I saw a sister in the chat say, I'm really scared. And girl, me too. My mama had a master's degree and was on food stamps with 2 babies by herself. I know what it's like to be hungry, living in a car, not knowing what was next. So if you are pissed, if you have righteous rage about what you're seeing happen to our community members, being kidnapped, healthcare being cut, food stamps being snapped away, if you are angry or you are scared, you are in the perfect place, because we're going to make the abandonment of our people by this administration obvious. We are not going to take the bait when they sprinkle crumbs across communities and piece by piece wedge us against each other over food and healthcare. We will not take the bait, beloveds. We will meet community need. We will block their harm. We will build our power. And here's how we're going to start. You're going to share your healthcare story right now. Right now, you are going to go to wfpus.org/healthcare, and you are going to share your story across social media. Elected needs to see the impact of their decisions, so you're going to share the cost of the premium hikes. You're going to take a picture of a letter if you've received it. And if you don't have the letter, you can find what your costs are going to be on healthcare.gov. You're going to share a video talking about it or a message that you've written, and you're going to share that. If your family is going to be impacted by these cuts to healthcare for the profit of billionaires, you're going to share that. If you can't afford your prescriptions and you're choosing between food and medicine, you're going to share that, right? If you're scared of losing Medicaid, you're going to share that. If you're in solidarity and you're just pissed off about it, you're going to share that. And you're going to reach out to other folks and ask them to do the same. When you post it, you're going to use the hashtags, #Trump Shutdown and #post your premiums. So that's the first thing you're going to do. The second thing you're going to do is call your senators. And again, I know I've said this, but it's so important. I know some of you have been doing that. You're going to keep doing it because when they start to waver, we put more pressure on. And we could win this, y'all. So we got to increase the amount of pressure that we're putting on these legislators. Call them, keep calling. Get your friends and your family members to call. Text Shutdown to 30403 if you need assistance to do that. You're going to take action in your community because we're going to show up outside these senators' offices, y'all. They're home, so we're going to show up. We're going to host an event to share our stories about how these Republican attacks are impacting our communities. To do that, you're going to go and support the healthcare heist events. You can go to that website. It's going to have events near you and the ability for you to host an event. And those links are being shared in the ticker below me. And last but certainly not least, you are going to go to ifwedon'teat.com. You're going to download information there. You're going to find out where you can take non-perishable goods to support feeding people. You're going to see all the community organizations that are coming together across difference to do mutual aid to make sure our people's needs are taken care of. You know what? If you are a public health professional on this call, you should be trying to figure out how you get your information on there to check people's blood sugars and check people's blood pressures, do community health fairs and the like. This is our moment to block and build at the same damn time, my friends. Let's get it done. I want to leave you with two quotes as we close. The first is from a brilliant man named Gene Sharp. Some of you have heard me say this before. Gene said that by themselves, rulers cannot collect taxes or enforce repressive laws and regulations, keep trains running on time, right? They can't prepare national budgets, direct traffic, manage ports, print money, repair roads, keep markets supplied with food, make steel, build rockets, train the police and army, issue postage stamps, or even milk a cow. People provide these services to the ruler through a variety of organizations and institutions. But here's the point of Gene's proposal to us, provocation to us. If people would stop providing these skills, the ruler could not rule. If people would stop providing these skills, the ruler could not rule. The last quote that I want to leave you with is from the brilliant Frantz Fanon. He said, "Each generation must discover its mission, fulfill it, or betray it. Now is a time for fulfilling our mission, good people. I hope to see you on the internet sharing your stories, and I hope you see me in front of a senator's office near you telling our stories until we've made sure that every single person has health care and every single family has food. I love you, I respect you, and I want you to be free. We'll see you on the next mass call. Good night, everybody.